very short example of the grouping. So I'll share my screen back with you again, and we will do one example on the grouping portion. Okay, I'll give you a second to get back there. Okay, 3x squared plus 6x plus 8. Okay. All right. So with the grouping, what I'm going to do is just go through these steps and the example at the same time, so you can see how it works. But I think this will jog your memory real quick once you see what it looks like. So the grouping, you know that you're going to do grouping because there are always 4 terms. So that's an easy way to determine that you're going to group. So the factoring problem we're going to do is 3x squared plus 6x plus 4x plus 8. So again, I know that I'm going to do grouping because I have 4 terms, and there is nothing that these all have in common. The 3 and the 6 have something in common. The 6, 4, and 8 have a 2 in common, but they don't all have one number and they don't all have an X. So we can't just do a regular GCF. We're going to do a double GCF is what it's called, basically. So once you see that there are 4 terms, what you're going to do is you're going to split it in half. So we're going to take this and we're literally going to draw a line down the middle of it. Hopefully this is looking familiar. And we're going to factor GCF on each side. So we're going to do the 3x squared all by itself, and then we will do the 4x plus 8 all by itself. So on the left, this is very similar to what we just did. 3x squared plus 6x would have a 3 and an x in common. So I can divide out a 3 and an x. Okay, just like a GCF. And so I'm going to write my 3x here. And then you don't have to write that division as you get better at this. I just do that to show you that's what you're doing is you're dividing. That's the purpose of factoring, is to divide it out. You don't have to write it as you get better at it. So I'm dividing this 3x out. And so my 3's cancel. And then x squared minus x would give me an x. And then 6 divided by 3 gives me a 2. And my x's cancel here. So on the left side, my GCF is 3x. And inside the parentheses, I should have x plus 2. All right, then on the right side, all I can take out is a 4. They don't have any x's in common, so the only thing that I can take out is 4. Now, if you happen to do it, because some of you on your practice, some of you weren't taking out big enough numbers. You were taking out like a 2. You'll notice it won't work if you don't take out the biggest number. So we're going to take out a 4. And if I divide by 4 here, that cancels and I'm just left with an x. And then 8 divided by 4 gives me 2. So if you notice here, if you do this correctly, you should have matching parentheses. These should match if you do this factor by grouping correctly. So now what you're going to do is you're going to group your GCF. So it's like you're almost doing one more step of factoring. So your GCFs were 3x and 4. So you're going to group your GCFs into one big parenthesis of 3x plus 4. And then you're going to rewrite this portion that they have in common. We don't want to write it twice because they have it in common. So since they have it in common, we're just going to write it one time as x plus 2. So if you notice here, it is a fun FOIL problem now. So the GCF, that was a distributing, but now we have a FOIL problem. You don't have to FOIL to check your work, but if you wanted to, by all means you could. But what I am going to ask you to do is to set each parenthesis equal to 0 to actually find x. Like, what's the point of factoring? Remember, it's to find our x's. So we're going to set each of these. I'm going to be lazy and just put equals 0 equals 0. Each set of parentheses equal to 0 and solve for x. So the first one, I would subtract 4 on both sides. And I would have 3x equals negative 4. And then divide by 3. And so I would have x equals negative 4 over 3. And then on the right-hand side, I would just subtract my 2 on both sides. And then I would have x equals -2. So those are my 2 answers. Yay. Okay. So here's the good and the bad news. Good news is that I did record this for you. So like this last section, because I know I went kind of fast and we only have one example. So if you feel like, hey, I don't really, that went too fast and I'd like to hear that again from you, I can definitely send you the recording. I would be more than willing to do that. And then also, well, the bad news is that we don't have time to go practice because it's 9:50 already and class is over. So you'll get to practice it on your homework and I will be very lenient. Don't worry if you don't quite understand it. You can always email me and ask me questions, or you could always send it to me early and say, hey, can you check this for me before I submit it? Okay.
So do we finish the daily log?
Nope, you don't have to finish the daily log. You can, as long as you just have the GCF section done, you don't have to do the grouping section, the last 3. So just do the first section of GCF. You don't have to do the grouping section. You could submit it and then that's it. So let me know. You can email me later.
Send it to me.
Who said?
You send me a video.
Sure. Bobby, do you? Oh, Bobby left. Okay. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Bye.